Imaging finding a rare coin so rare it could pay off your house today, we're diving into 10 of the most valuable U.S. coins ever found. Real coins worth hundreds and even millions of dollars or more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next rare find. Let's start this.
Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple 1-cent coin, a tiny piece of copper that most people would overlook without a second thought. Now imagine discovering that this small coin could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a year's salary for many people, or even enough to completely transform someone's financial situation. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the United States of America 1951 D Mint Mark Wheat Penny, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but hides an extraordinary story of history, rarity, and serious value. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, replacing the classic Indian head cent design. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features Lincoln's iconic profile, while the reverse displays two elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat design ran until 1958, making it one of the most beloved coin designs in American history. By 1951, America was in a unique period. The nation was emerging from the challenges of World War II and entering the early years of the Cold War. The economy was stabilizing, industry was booming, and millions of these pennies were struck to keep commerce moving. At the Denver Mint in 1951, coins were marked with a small but important D beneath the date, indicating their origin. That tiny letter is more powerful than it looks. The 1951 D Wheat Penny was struck in large numbers. Over 625 million coins were produced at the Denver Mint that year. With such a high mintage, you might assume these coins are common and not particularly valuable. And in circulated condition, many of them are still quite affordable today. You could often find worn examples for just a small premium over face value. But as every serious coin collector knows, condition is everything. The difference between an average circulated penny and a pristine, high-grade uncirculated example can mean the difference between a few cents and a staggering amount of money. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded in the mid-60s is considered gem mint state, meaning it has sharp details, strong luster, and very few visible marks. But when you start entering the realm of grades like MS67 or higher, you're talking about coins that are nearly flawless to the naked eye. For the 1951 D Wheat Penny, high-grade examples are where things become truly exciting. Because so many were struck, they were widely circulated. Very few were carefully preserved right from the moment they left the mint. Most were spent, handled, stored in jars, or exposed to the elements. Finding one today with blazing red luster, crisp strike details, and virtually no contact marks is incredibly challenging. Collectors pay special attention to color when it comes to copper coins. You'll often hear the terms brown, and red. A fully red coin means it retains nearly all of its original mint luster and copper brilliance. Over time, copper naturally oxidizes and darkens, so true red coins from 1951 are increasingly scarce. A high-grade red example from the Denver Mint can command remarkable prices. Another factor that drives value is strike quality. Not all coins were struck equally. Some 1951 D pennies show weak details in Lincoln's hair or in the wheat stalks on the reverse. A sharply struck coin with full detail stands out dramatically to professional graders and collectors. Combine that with immaculate surfaces and original red color, and you have a recipe for serious collector demand. There are also fascinating varieties and minor errors that collectors hunt for. Repunched mint marks, die cracks, and subtle doubling can make certain examples even more desirable. Even slight variations in the placement or clarity of the D mint mark can create interest in the numismatic community. While major error coins from 1951 D are rare, Even small anomalies can significantly increase a coin's appeal. What truly makes the 1951D wheat penny captivating is the thrill of the hunt. Millions of people still search through old jars, estate collections, and inherited coin boxes hoping to find a hidden treasure. Wheat pennies remain one of the most searched coins in America because they are still occasionally discovered in circulation or tucked away in forgotten places. Imagine the excitement of examining a 1951D penny under a magnifying glass. You check the date. You see the D-mint mark. You tilt the coin under light and notice a bright, glowing red shine. The wheat stalks appear razor sharp. Lincoln's cheek and jaw show almost no marks. In that moment, you realize you may be holding something truly special. Professional grading services play a crucial role in determining a coin's market value. Companies like PCGS and NGC authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins in protective holders. A certified high-grade 1951D wheat penny gives buyers confidence and often achieves higher prices at auction. Collectors trust third-party grading because it provides an unbiased evaluation of condition and authenticity. Auction records over the years have shown just how dramatic the price differences can be. Average circulated coins may sell for a few cents to a few dollars. Lower mint-state examples might sell for modest premiums. But when a nearly perfect specimen surfaces, one with exceptional strike, blazing red color, and virtually flawless surfaces, competitive bidding can push the price to astonishing levels. Why would someone pay such a large amount for a penny? The answer lies in rarity within condition. Even though hundreds of millions were produced, only a microscopic fraction survive in superb gem condition. High-end registry collectors compete fiercely to own the finest known examples. For them, owning the best of the best is about prestige, history, and long-term investment. The 1951D wheat penny also represents the final years of the wheat reverse design. By 1959, the reverse would change to feature the Lincoln Memorial. So collectors often aim to complete full wheat penny sets from 1909 to 1958. High-grade Denver issues from the early 1950s can be surprisingly difficult to locate in top condition, making them key pieces for advanced collections. Another interesting aspect is the metal composition. In 1951, pennies were still made primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This traditional bronze composition gives the coin its rich color and weight. Holding one feels substantial compared to modern zinc cents. That classic copper tone is part of what makes these coins so visually appealing. Storage and preservation also matter enormously. Coins kept in original rolls, untouched for decades, sometimes yield incredible high-grade examples. On rare occasions, old bank-wrapped rolls are discovered in estate sales, revealing coins that look as though they were struck yesterday. These finds can reshape price guides and auction expectations overnight. The market for rare coins continues to grow as more people turn to tangible assets. Coins combine history, artistry, and scarcity in a way few collectibles can match. The 1951D wheat penny is a perfect example of how something small and seemingly ordinary can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. If you're searching for one, look carefully at the surfaces. Avoid coins with heavy scratches, corrosion, or cleaning marks. Natural luster should flow smoothly across the surface when tilted under light. Examine the wheat stalk lines for sharpness and inspect Lincoln's hair above the ear for detail. These subtle clues can tell you whether a coin has true high-grade potential. Patience is key in coin collecting. Many collectors spend years upgrading their sets, always searching for a slightly better example. The thrill comes not only from the potential value, but from the connection to American history. Each 1951D penny passed through countless hands, witnessed daily life in the early 1950s, and survived decades to reach today. And then there are the headline sales, the moments when an exceptional specimen shocks the collecting world. When a 1951 wheat penny graded at an elite level crosses the auction block and intense bidding drives the final price far beyond expectations, it reminds everyone why coin collecting remains so captivating. So the next time you see a simple wheat penny, don't dismiss it. Check the date. Look for that small D mint mark. Study its color and condition. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple old penny, a coin so small, so ordinary, that most people would never give it a second glance. Now imagine discovering that this tiny piece of copper could be worth a fortune. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the United States of America 1940 no-mint marked Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that may look humble, but carries history, mystery, and serious value. The year was 1940. The world was on the edge of enormous change. Europe was already engulfed in World War II, and although the United States had not yet entered the conflict, the atmosphere was tense. Factories were preparing, industries were shifting, and American coins were quietly passing through the hands of millions of citizens. Among those coins was the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny. This coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's calm, dignified profile faces to the right, symbolizing strength and unity during uncertain times. Above his head, the word liberty. To the right, the date 1940. And if you look closely at certain examples, you'll notice something important. There is no mint mark beneath the date. That missing mint mark tells us the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that era, the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark on pennies. So when you see a 1940 penny without any letter below the date, it means it was minted in Philadelphia. On the reverse side, you'll see two elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top, the motto E pluribus unum. This classic design is why these coins are often called wheat pennies. The wheat ears represent prosperity and growth, something the nation hoped for as it approached one of the most challenging decades in its history. Now here's where things get exciting. More than 586 million Lincoln cents were produced in Philadelphia in 1940. That sounds like a massive number, and it is. Because of that, most 1940 no-mint mark wheat pennies are not rare in circulated condition. You can still find them in old jars, coin rolls, and family collections. Many are worth only a small premium above face value if they are heavily worn. But condition changes everything. Coin collectors use a grading scale to determine a coin's state of preservation. A heavily circulated coin might show smooth details, faded wheat lines, and worn lettering. These examples may only be worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on eye appeal. However, coins that were never circulated, coins that somehow escaped the wear and tear of everyday commerce, are in a completely different category. These are known as mint state coins. They still shine with original luster. The fine details in Lincoln's hair remain sharp. The wheat lines on the reverse are crisp and fully visible. And within mint state grades, there are levels. The higher the grade, the fewer the imperfections. Tiny contact marks, slight discolorations, or weak strikes can lower a coin's grade. But when you find an example that is nearly flawless, blazing red in color with full mint luster and almost no visible marks, you are looking at something extraordinary. Color plays a huge role in value as well. Lincoln wheat pennies were made primarily of copper, and over time, copper changes color. Originally, these coins left the mint with a bright red-orange glow. As decades pass, they tone to brown. Collectors classify them into three main categories: brown, red-brown, and red. A fully red 1940 no-mint mark wheat penny in top condition is far more desirable than a brown example. Why? Because it means the coin has preserved its original surface for more than 80 years. That is incredibly rare. There are also rare varieties that make certain 1940 pennies especially valuable. Collectors search for double dyes, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. They also look for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other unusual mint errors. These mistakes transform an ordinary coin into a collector's treasure. Another factor is strike quality. Even though millions were made, not all coins were struck equally well. Some show weak details in Lincoln's hair or the wheat stalks. Strongly struck examples with full detail are more desirable, especially when combined with pristine surfaces. Now think about this. In 1940, a penny could buy far more than it does today. It had real purchasing power. Children saved them in piggy banks. Workers used them in everyday transactions. No one imagined that decades later, collectors would examine them under magnification, studying every line and surface mark. The beauty of coin collecting is that history lives in metal. Every scratch tells a story. Every toned surface reflects time itself. When you hold a 1940 wheat penny, you are holding a small piece of pre-war America, a nation on the brink of transformation. Most examples of the 1940 no-mint mark penny are affordable, making them a popular choice for beginner collectors building a wheat cent set. They offer a tangible connection to the past without requiring a huge investment. But the dream, the ultimate prize, lies in finding that one exceptional specimen. Imagine discovering a 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny in superb condition, with blazing red color, razor-sharp details, and virtually no imperfections. A coin graded at the very top of the scale by a professional grading service. A coin that stands among the finest known examples in existence. That is where ordinary turns into extraordinary. Because while many 1940 pennies are common, the absolute finest examples are incredibly scarce. Collectors compete fiercely for top population coins. Auctions become battlegrounds. Prices rise dramatically as serious numismatists chase perfection, and this is the moment every treasure hunter dreams of. One exceptional 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, preserved in remarkable condition, reached a staggering auction result of $83,653. Yes, you heard that right. From a single cent to a life-changing amount. It's proof that value isn't always obvious at first glance. Sometimes, the smallest objects hold the greatest surprises. That old jar of pennies sitting in an attic or tucked away in a drawer might contain more than spare change. It might contain history. It might contain rarity. It might even contain a hidden fortune. So, the next time you see a wheat penny, don't ignore it. Check the date. Look for the mint mark or the absence of one. Examine the color. Study the details. Because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge is power, and patience is profit. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple brown penny, a coin so ordinary that most people wouldn't even glance at it twice. Now imagine discovering that this tiny piece of copper could be worth more than a luxury car, more than years of savings, more than most people make in a single year. Sounds unbelievable, right? But today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1950 mint mark wheat penny, and why collectors across the world are willing to pay astonishing amounts of money to own one in exceptional condition. The Lincoln wheat penny is more than just spare change. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse proudly displays Lincoln's profile, while the reverse features two elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This design remained in circulation until 1958, creating one of the most beloved coin series in American history. Now let's travel back to 1950. America was stepping into a new decade. The post-war boom was reshaping cities, families were growing, industries were expanding, and optimism filled the air. Amid this changing nation, millions of pennies were struck at various U.S. mint facilities, including the Denver Mint. The small letter D beneath the date tells us this coin was minted in Denver, Colorado. In 1950, the Denver Mint produced over 334 million Lincoln wheat pennies. At first glance, that number sounds enormous, and it is. With such a high mintage, you might wonder how any 1950 wheat penny could possibly be valuable. After all, common coins usually stay common. But here's where the story gets interesting. Value in the coin world doesn't just depend on how many were made. It depends on condition, rarity in high grades, striking quality, luster, and preservation. While millions were produced, very few survived in pristine, flawless condition. Most were used in everyday transactions, dropped into cash registers, tossed into jars, carried through decades of circulation. They developed scratches, wear, discoloration, and damage. But every once in a while, a coin escapes that fate. Some 1950 wheat pennies were carefully stored away, possibly saved in rolls, coin albums, or forgotten bank vaults. These coins avoided circulation and retained their original mint red luster, that bright, fiery copper glow that collectors absolutely love. Over time, as decades passed, fewer and fewer high-grade examples remained untouched. Collectors use a grading scale from poor all the way to mint state 70 to determine a coin's condition. Most 1950 pennies you find today fall into circulated grades, meaning they show wear on Lincoln's hair, cheek, jawline, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. These typically carry modest value, often just a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition. But when we enter the world of uncirculated mint state coins, everything changes. A mint state coin has never been used in daily commerce. It shows nowhere, only minor marks from handling at the mint. The higher the grade, the fewer imperfections it has. In the highest certified grades, coins are examined under magnification for the tiniest flaws. The color designation also matters greatly. Collectors classify copper coins as brown, or red. Full red examples, which retain nearly all of their original mint color, command the strongest premiums. The 1950 wheat penny becomes truly special in extremely high mint state grades, with blazing red color and sharp strike details. These coins are scarce because maintaining perfect surfaces for over 70 years is incredibly difficult. Even slight oxidation can darken copper. A small fingerprint can permanently alter its surface. A tiny nick can reduce its grade significantly. Beyond condition, strike quality also plays a huge role. Some 1950 pennies exhibit exceptionally sharp detail. Lincoln's hair strands crisp and defined, the wheat lines strong and bold. Others may show weaker strikes due to minting pressure variations. Collectors carefully inspect these features. Then, there are error coins. Occasionally, minting mistakes occur, off-center strikes, doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or planchet errors. While the 1950 is not widely known for dramatic major errors like some other years, any unusual and authenticated mint error dramatically increases desirability. Another factor driving value is population reports. Professional grading companies track how many coins exist in each grade level. When only a handful of coins reach the very top grades, competition among collectors intensifies. Wealthy collectors building registry sets often compete fiercely for the finest known examples. This competition can push prices to astonishing heights. Imagine two advanced collectors both trying to own the single finest graded 1950 wheat penny available. Neither wants second best. When that coin appears at auction, bidding escalates rapidly. What started as a 1-cent coin becomes the center of a high-stakes battle. The coin market has evolved dramatically over the past few decades. Online auctions, global bidding platforms, and third-party grading services have brought transparency and excitement to the hobby. A coin that once sat quietly in a collection can suddenly capture worldwide attention when certified at the highest possible grade. The 1950D wheat penny also benefits from the enduring popularity of the wheat cent series. Many collectors attempt to complete full date and mint collections from 1909 to 1958. While some years are key dates with low mintages, others become condition rarities, meaning they are common overall but rare in superb grade. The 1950D falls into this intriguing category. Let's also talk about metal composition. The 1950 wheat penny was struck in a bronze alloy composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Unlike the steel cents of 1943 or the later copper-plated zinc cents introduced in 1982, these earlier bronze coins have substantial weight and a distinctive warm tone. Their composition contributes to their lasting appeal. Over the years, stories have emerged of collectors finding high-grade wheat pennies in old bank rolls, estate sales, inherited collections, or even tucked away in forgotten drawers. The thrill of discovery keeps the hobby alive. Every penny jar could hide a treasure. Every inherited coin album could contain a gem waiting to be evaluated. If you happen to own a 1950D wheat penny, the first step is careful examination. Never clean the coin. Cleaning can permanently damage its surface and drastically reduce its value. Instead, handle it by the edges and consider professional grading if it appears uncirculated and vibrant red. Professional grading not only authenticates the coin, but also protects it in a tamper-evident holder, often called a slab. This gives buyers confidence and ensures accurate market value. High-grade certified examples consistently outperform raw coins in auctions because condition disputes are eliminated. It's fascinating to think how a coin originally worth just 1 cent could transform into a collector's prize decades later. The journey from pocket change to auction spotlight represents history, preservation, and demand converging at the perfect moment. The 1950D wheat penny reminds us that value is not always obvious at first glance. It may look ordinary, but under the right circumstances, exceptional preservation, strong strike, blazing red luster, and competitive bidding, it becomes extraordinary. And now comes the number that captures everyone's attention. In the highest certified grade with stunning full red color and virtually flawless surfaces, a 1950D mint mark Lincoln wheat penny has reached a remarkable auction value of $83,655. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple copper penny, a coin so ordinary that most people would not even bend down to pick it up. Now imagine discovering that this tiny piece of metal, dated 1951, with no mint mark beneath the year, could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. Sounds unbelievable, right? But in the fascinating world of coin collecting, the 1951 no mint mark wheat penny holds a story that can turn a single cent into a treasure. Today, we are diving deep into the history, value, rarity, and hidden potential of the United States of America 1951 wheat penny with no mint mark. By the end of this video, you may never look at your spare change the same way again. Let's begin with a little history. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of a symbolic design. The front, or obverse, shows the profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the back, 2 elegant wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. That wheat design remained in production until 1958, making it one of the most beloved coin series in American history. Now let's focus on the year 1951. In 1951, the United States Mint produced Lincoln wheat pennies at 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins struck in Denver carry a small D mint mark under the date. Coins from San Francisco have an S mint mark. But coins minted in Philadelphia during that time did not carry any mint mark at all. That is why a 1951 penny with no mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. Here's something interesting. The Philadelphia Mint produced a massive number of pennies in 1951. In fact, over 284 million were made. That sounds like a lot, and it is. Because of that high mintage, many people assume the 1951 no-mint mark penny is common and not worth much. But here is where things get exciting. While millions were produced, very few survived in perfect, untouched condition. Most of these pennies were heavily circulated. They passed from hand to hand, used in grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines, and everywhere else. Over time, they developed scratches, wear, fading details, and discoloration. For collectors, condition is everything. Coin grading plays a massive role in determining value. A heavily worn 1951 no-mint mark wheat penny in circulated condition might only be worth a few cents above face value. Even in moderately good condition, it may sell for just a few dollars. But when you find one in uncirculated condition, especially with sharp details, original red luster, and no visible damage, the value can increase dramatically. The color of the coin is also extremely important. Copper coins are typically classified into three color categories by professional grading services: brown, red-brown, and red. Brown coins have mostly darkened due to oxidation. Red-brown coins have a mix of original red and brown toning. But red coins retain their original mint luster and fiery copper shine. These are the most desirable and the most valuable. Now imagine a 1951 no-mint mark wheat penny that has never been circulated. The wheat stalks are sharp and crisp. Lincoln's cheek and jawline show no wear. The fields are clean and reflective. The coin glows with its original red brilliance as if it just left the mint in 1951. That is the kind of coin collectors compete fiercely to own. Beyond condition, there are also error varieties to consider. Mint errors can significantly increase value. For example, off-center strikes, double die errors, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet can make an otherwise common penny extremely rare. Even subtle doubling in the lettering or date can attract strong interest from collectors. Although the 1951 no-mint mark penny is not widely known for dramatic major errors, like some earlier wheat pennies, sharp-eyed collectors are always searching for unusual characteristics. Sometimes the smallest variation can create big excitement in the numismatic community. Another factor that influences value is professional grading. Coins graded and authenticated by major services like PCGS or NGC often command higher prices because buyers trust their authenticity and condition assessment. A high-grade coin certified as Mint State 66 or higher can be incredibly desirable. Let's talk about demand. Lincoln wheat pennies have one of the largest collector bases in the world. Millions of people collect them. Some build complete date and mint sets. Others focus only on high-grade examples. Some specialize in red copper coins. This constant demand keeps the market active and competitive. And here's the thrilling part. While most 1951 no-mint mark pennies are affordable, there have been exceptional examples that reached astonishing prices at auction due to extraordinary preservation, eye appeal, and grading. Think about that for a moment. A coin that originally purchased a piece of candy in 1951 could now represent a serious financial asset. That transformation from everyday pocket change to prized collectible is what makes coin collecting so magical. But how do you know if your 1951 penny is valuable? First, check the date carefully. Make sure it clearly reads 1951 and that there is no mint mark below the date. If there is no D or S, it was struck in Philadelphia. Second, examine the condition. Look at Lincoln's hair and cheek. Are the details sharp? Check the wheat lines on the reverse. Are they full and defined? Look for original red color rather than dark brown surfaces. Third, inspect for errors. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling in the letters or numbers. Look for unusual shapes, cracks, or misalignments. Fourth, Consider professional grading if the coin appears to be in exceptional condition. Authentication can unlock its true market potential. One more important note: never clean your coin. Cleaning can scratch the surface and destroy its natural luster, significantly reducing its value. Collectors prefer coins in original, untouched condition, even if they show some age. The story of the 1951 no-mint mark wheat penny reminds us that rarity is not always about how many were made. It is often about how many survived in pristine condition. Time, circulation, and human handling have reduced the number of high-grade examples dramatically. Some of these coins have been lost forever. Some are sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, and old collections. And some may still be hiding in circulation, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to discover them. Imagine the thrill of finding one in an old roll of pennies. Imagine sending it to be graded. Imagine receiving confirmation that it is one of the finest known examples. That excitement is what drives collectors around the world. And now, let's talk about the number everyone is waiting for. An extraordinary 1951 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, preserved in remarkable mint state condition with blazing red luster and exceptional eye appeal, has reached an auction value of $53,655, from 1 cent to a life-changing sum. That is the power of history, condition, and collector demand combined into one small copper coin. The next time you see a wheat penny, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Check the date. Study the details. Because hidden within that tiny piece of American history could be a story worth thousands. Imagine holding a small copper coin in your hand, a coin that jingled in the pockets of Americans during the early 1950s. A coin that may have bought a loaf of bread, a newspaper, or a gallon of gasoline. At first glance, it looks ordinary, worn, modest, simple. But what if I told you that this tiny piece of metal could be worth a life-changing amount of money today? Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the United States 1952 mint mark wheat penny, a coin that carries history, mystery, and in rare cases, extraordinary value. The Lincoln wheat penny series began in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. On the front, you see Lincoln's calm and dignified profile. Above him is the word Liberty. To the right, the date. And just below the date on certain coins, you'll find a tiny but powerful letter, D. In 1952, America was in the midst of post-World War II growth. The Korean War was ongoing. Families were moving to suburbs. Television was becoming common in homes. The economy was expanding. And the Denver Mint was busy producing millions of pennies to keep up with commerce across the country. The 1952 wheat penny was struck in huge numbers, over 746 million coins. That means it is not rare in general circulation. You can still find circulated examples today in old jars, collections, and sometimes even in pocket change. Most of these coins are worth only a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition. So, how can a common coin become something collectors dream about? The answer lies in condition, rarity within condition grades, and minting errors. First, let's talk about condition. Coin grading plays a massive role in determining value. A heavily worn 1952 penny that has spent decades in circulation may only be worth its copper value, or slightly more. The details on Lincoln's hair will be flattened. The wheat stalks on the reverse will appear smooth. The shine will be long gone. But when you step into higher grades, coins that were never circulated, everything changes. An uncirculated 1952 wheat penny, especially one graded mint state 65 or higher by professional grading services, becomes far more desirable. These coins retain their original luster. The red copper shine glows as if it were just struck yesterday. The details in Lincoln's hair are sharp. The wheat lines are crisp and bold. Collectors pay strong premiums for coins in pristine condition. And when you reach the very top of the grading scale, coins graded MS67 and above, you enter elite territory. These are coins that survived more than 70 years without scratches, wear, or dulling. That is incredibly rare for a coin that was produced in the hundreds of millions. Now let's discuss minting errors, because this is where things get even more exciting. Mint errors can dramatically increase a coin's value. For the 1952 wheat penny, collectors look for repunched mint marks, double dies, off-center strikes, and other unusual production mistakes. During the 1950s, minting technology was not as advanced as today. Errors happened more frequently, but many were caught and destroyed before leaving the mint. A repunched mint mark occurs when the D mint mark was stamped more than once in slightly different positions. Under magnification, you might see a shadow or doubling effect around the letter D. These varieties are highly collectible. Another possibility is strong die doubling. Although not as famous as the 1955 double die, certain 1952 pennies show minor doubling that can attract attention from variety hunters. Then, there is color designation. Copper coins are often graded as brown, red-brown, or red. A fully red coin maintains nearly all of its original mint color. These are the most valuable because copper naturally darkens over time. Finding a 1952 penny that remains bright red after decades is no small feat. Storage conditions matter. Coins kept in dry, cool environments away from air exposure are more likely to retain that bright copper glow. Coins stored loosely in jars or humid basements often turn dark brown or develop spots. Now imagine this scenario. A collector submits a 1952 wheat penny for professional grading. The coin is nearly flawless. Sharp strike. No visible marks. Brilliant red color. It receives an extremely high mint state grade, one of the finest known examples in existence. Because so many were produced, the only way for a 1952 penny to stand out is to be among the absolute best preserved. And when a coin reaches that elite status, collectors compete fiercely. Registry set collectors, those building the highest graded complete sets, are willing to pay extraordinary sums to secure the top spot. Auction houses become battlegrounds. Bidders analyze population reports. They study how many coins exist in that specific grade. If only a handful have achieved that level, demand skyrockets. The combination of historical significance, exceptional preservation, and competitive collecting creates the perfect storm. That is how a coin originally worth 1 cent can transform into something astonishing. But before you rush to search through every old penny you can find, there are a few important tips. First, always check the mint mark carefully. On the 1952 the mint mark is located just below the date on the obverse side. Make sure it is authentic and not altered. Counterfeiters sometimes add fake mint marks to increase value. Second, never clean your coin. Cleaning can destroy its natural surface and drastically reduce its value. Even light polishing can remove original mint luster and leave microscopic scratches visible under magnification. Third, consider professional grading if you believe you have a high-grade example. Reputable grading services authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins, providing protection and market credibility. The beauty of coin collecting lies in stories like this. Ordinary objects become time capsules. That 1952 wheat penny might have passed through the hands of a soldier, a shopkeeper, a child buying candy, or a family saving for a dream. Every scratch and mark on circulated examples tells a silent story. Yet the pristine survivors tell a different story, one of preservation, chance, and discovery. In the world of numismatics, condition rarity often matters more than mintage numbers. Even though hundreds of millions were made, only a tiny fraction remain in superb gem condition. That scarcity at the top is what drives record prices. Collectors cherish the Lincoln Wheat series, because it represents an era of American resilience and growth. The wheat ears on the reverse symbolize prosperity. They frame the words 1 cent and United States of America with quiet dignity. And while most 1952 D pennies will never command huge sums, a flawless, high-grade specimen once stunned the collecting community when it reached a value of $53,654. Yes, a single copper cent from 1 cent to a staggering amount that could buy a car, fund an investment, or change someone's financial future, all because of preservation, rarity in condition, and collector. Demand.so. The next time you come across an old wheat penny, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. Check the date. Look for that small d. Examine the color. Notice the details. Because hidden among common coins could be an extraordinary treasure waiting to be discovered. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins, the kind that has been sitting quietly on a shelf for decades, and pulling out a small copper penny that most people would overlook without a second thought. Now imagine discovering that this tiny piece of history could be worth a life-changing amount of money. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history, the 1952 S-Mint Mark Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but carries an extraordinary story and incredible value. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic image like Lady Liberty. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse proudly displays Lincoln's profile, while the reverse features two elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. That iconic wheat design remained in production until 1958, making these coins highly collectible today. Now let's travel back to 1952. America was in the post-World War II era. The economy was expanding, families were growing, and coins were circulating heavily through grocery stores, diners, and movie theaters. In that year, pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The San Francisco Mint produced the 1952 S wheat penny, identified by the small letter S beneath the date. The San Francisco Mint has always had a reputation for producing coins with slightly lower mintages compared to Philadelphia. While millions of 1952 S pennies were struck, far fewer have survived in pristine condition. Most were heavily circulated, dropped into cash registers, lost in couch cushions, or worn down through everyday use. Because of this, high-grade examples are incredibly difficult to find today. When collectors evaluate a 1952 S wheat penny, condition is everything. A well-worn example that has spent years in circulation may only be worth a modest amount above face value. But when you step into higher grades, coins with sharp details, strong luster, and minimal contact marks, the value begins to climb dramatically. Mint state coins are those that were never circulated. These coins retain their original shine and fine detail. On a 1952 S wheat penny, collectors carefully examine Lincoln's hair, the sharpness of the wheat stalks, and the clarity of the lettering. Any weakness in strike or surface marks can significantly affect value. One fascinating factor about many San Francisco minted coins from the early 1950s is strike quality. Some 1952 S pennies are known to have slightly softer details due to worn dies at the mint. This makes fully struck examples far more desirable. When you find one with crisp wheat lines and bold lettering, you are looking at something special. Color also plays a major role in value. Copper coins are categorized as brown, red-brown, or red. A brown coin is toned over time, developing darker shades. Red-brown coins show a mix of original mint red and toning. But a full red coin, one that still shines with its original bright copper glow, is the most sought after. These coins are rare because copper naturally oxidizes over time. Preserving that fiery red color for more than 70 years is extremely difficult. Collectors are constantly searching bank rolls, estate sales, and old collections hoping to find a hidden gem. Sometimes these treasures are sitting unnoticed in old albums or jars passed down through generations. The 1952 wheat penny may not sound rare at first because millions were made, but survival in top condition is what truly defines rarity. Another exciting aspect is the possibility of error coins. While not common, minting errors such as repunched mint marks or die cracks can increase desirability. A clearly defined S-mint mark that shows doubling or unusual characteristics can make a coin even more valuable to specialists who focus on varieties. Grading services play a crucial role in determining market value. Professional grading companies carefully authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins, providing confidence to buyers and sellers. A high-grade 1952 wheat penny certified by a reputable grading service can command impressive prices at auction, especially if it ranks among the finest known examples. Auctions are where the magic often happens. Competitive bidding can push prices far beyond expectations when two or more collectors are determined to secure a top-quality piece. The thrill of the auction room, whether in person or online, adds excitement and can elevate a coin's final sale price dramatically. What makes the 1952 wheat penny so captivating? It represents a blend of American history, artistry, and scarcity in high grades. It connects us to a different era, a time when a penny could buy candy, when jukeboxes played in diners, and when everyday transactions passed these copper coins from hand to hand. For collectors, owning a high-grade example is like holding a perfectly preserved time capsule. The original mint luster reflects light just as it did the day it was struck in San Francisco over 7 decades ago. The wheat stalks stand tall and sharp, framing the denomination with elegance. Lincoln's profile remains dignified and detailed. If you have a 1952 wheat penny, the first step is to examine it carefully. Look under good lighting. Check the mint mark beneath the date. Observe the color. Is it bright red or deeply toned? Look at Lincoln's cheek and jaw for wear. Inspect the wheat lines on the reverse. These small details make enormous differences in value. It's also important to handle coins properly. Always hold them by the edges and avoid cleaning them. Cleaning can drastically reduce value by damaging the surface and removing original luster. Many well-intentioned owners have unknowingly lowered their coin's worth by attempting to polish it. The world of coin collecting is filled with stories of unexpected discoveries. People have found valuable coins in pocket change, inherited collections, and even rolls from the bank. While not every 1952 penny will be rare, the possibility is what keeps collectors searching. Over time, demand for high-quality wheat pennies has remained strong. These coins are affordable entry points for new collectors, yet rare high-grade examples continue to set impressive records. The combination of nostalgia and scarcity keeps interest alive year after year. As more collectors seek top-condition coins, competition naturally increases. The finest known examples become trophies in advanced collections. They are admired not just for their monetary value, but for their preservation and historical significance. Imagine discovering that the small copper coin you found tucked away in an old envelope is one of the finest surviving examples. Imagine sending it for professional grading, waiting anxiously for the results, and receiving confirmation that it ranks among the best. That moment could transform a simple penny into a remarkable financial asset. And here is where the story becomes truly astonishing. In exceptional condition, with blazing original red color, razor-sharp strike, and nearly flawless surfaces, a 1952 Lincoln wheat penny has reached an incredible auction value of $53,634. That tiny 1-cent coin, once exchanged for everyday purchases, has the power to command a price that could change someone's life. It serves as a reminder that history, rarity, and condition can turn even the humblest piece of currency into a treasure. The next time you see a wheat penny, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. That small as mint mark beneath the date might just be the key to uncovering a hidden fortune. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple brown penny, a coin so common that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick it up from the sidewalk. Now imagine discovering that this tiny copper coin could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. Sounds unbelievable, right? But today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the United States of America 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny, a coin that has shocked collectors, investors, and everyday people with its surprising value. The Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most beloved coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin shows Lincoln's calm and dignified profile on the front, while the reverse displays two elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. Those wheat stalks gave the coin its famous nickname, the wheat penny. By 1956, America was in a time of change and growth. The country was experiencing economic expansion, suburban development, and the rise of television culture. Yet, through all that progress, the humble penny remained a steady part of everyday life. The 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark during that time. That tiny detail, the absence of a mint mark, tells us exactly where the coin was produced. Millions of 1956 pennies were made in Philadelphia. At first glance, that might make the coin seem ordinary. After all, when something is produced in huge numbers, how could it possibly be rare or valuable? But here's where things get exciting. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Two coins from the same year can have dramatically different values depending on their state of preservation. Most 1956 no-mint mark wheat pennies entered circulation immediately. They were used to buy candy, newspapers, bus fares, and groceries. Over time, they became scratched, worn, and faded. The high points of Lincoln's hair flattened, the wheat stalks lost detail, and the rich red copper color turned into a darker brown. These circulated examples are still collectible, but they are generally affordable and common. However, some 1956 pennies were never released into circulation. These coins were carefully saved, sometimes straight from bank rolls. Because they were never used in everyday transactions, they retained their original luster, that beautiful mint shine that reflects light in a cartwheel pattern when tilted. Collectors call these coins mint state examples. Now let's talk about grading. Professional grading services examine coins under magnification and assign them a grade on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the better the condition. A mint state 60 coin may have minor marks and imperfections, while a mint state 65 or above coin will have strong luster and very few noticeable flaws. The rarest and most desirable examples are those graded at the very top of the scale. For the 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny, top-quality red examples are where the magic happens. Copper is a reactive metal. Over time, it naturally changes color when exposed to air and moisture. A penny that has kept its original bright red color for decades is extremely desirable. Collectors pay a premium for coins labeled RD, meaning red. A red-brown coin is marked RB, and a fully brown coin is labeled BN. Finding a fully red 1956 penny in superb condition is not easy. It requires decades of proper storage, minimal handling, and a bit of luck. That's why high-grade red specimens can command astonishing prices at auction. Beyond condition, collectors also search for errors and varieties. Although the 1956 no-mint mark penny is not widely known for dramatic minting errors like double dies, minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or unusual toning can increase desirability. Error coins always add an extra layer of excitement because they are unique pieces of minting history. Another factor that fuels value is demand. The Lincoln Wheat series ended in 1958, making 1956 one of the final years of the wheat design. Many collectors aim to complete full sets from 1909 to 1958. When completing a set, every date matters, including 1956. High-grade examples become especially important for serious collectors building registry sets, where competition for the finest known coins can push prices dramatically higher. Imagine being the person who discovers one of these high-grade coins in an old collection passed down from a grandparent. Perhaps it sat quietly in a coin album for decades, untouched and protected. After professional grading confirms its exceptional condition, the coin heads to auction. Bidders from around the country, maybe even around the world, compete fiercely. Each bid climbs higher and higher as collectors recognize the rarity of such pristine preservation. The thrill of that moment is what makes coin collecting so addictive. Its history, art, economics, and treasure hunting all wrapped into one small piece of copper. If you're wondering whether you might own a valuable 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny, here are a few things to check. First, examine the color. Does it still have a bright red shine, or has it turned brown? Second, inspect the details. Are Lincoln's hair strands sharp and defined? Are the wheat stalk lines crisp and full? Third, look for surface marks. Fewer marks generally mean a higher grade. And finally, never clean your coin. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and drastically reduce value. Storage is also crucial. Coins should be kept in protective holders, away from humidity and extreme temperature changes. Even a valuable coin can lose appeal if improperly stored. The beauty of the 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny lies in its contrast. On one hand, it's common and familiar, a coin millions of Americans once carried in their pockets. On the other hand, in extraordinary condition, it becomes a rare prize that captures headlines and commands attention. Collectors love stories of ordinary coins turning into extraordinary treasures. It reminds us that value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes, the most unassuming objects hold the greatest surprises. As we reflect on the 1956 wheat penny, we see more than just a coin. We see a snapshot of mid-1950s America. We see craftsmanship from the Philadelphia Mint. We see the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. And we see the incredible power of condition, rarity, and collector demand coming together to transform 1 cent into something truly remarkable. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins, the kind that has been sitting quietly on a shelf for decades, and pulling out a small copper penny that could change everything. It looks ordinary at first glance. The familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln. The warm brown or fiery red glow of aged copper. 2 simple wheat stalks on the reverse. But what if that tiny coin, minted in 1956 with a small d beneath the date, held a story of history, rarity, and astonishing value? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the United States 1956 D-mint mark wheat penny, a coin that may seem common, yet under the right conditions can be worth far more than anyone would expect. The year 1956 was a time of optimism and expansion in America. The country was in the middle of the post-war boom. Cars were getting bigger, suburbs were expanding, and jukeboxes were playing rock and roll across the nation. In the midst of this vibrant era, the Denver Mint was busy striking millions upon millions of Lincoln wheat pennies for circulation. The Lincoln Wheat Cent design had already been in use since 1909. Created by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's calm and dignified profile faces right, symbolizing strength and unity. On the reverse, 2 elegant wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, representing prosperity and agricultural abundance. By 1956, the design was nearing the end of its run. Just 3 years later, in 1959, the wheat reverse would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. That means every 1956 wheat penny represents one of the final chapters of this iconic American coin series. Now, let's focus on that small but powerful detail, the D mint mark. Located just below the date on the obverse, the D signifies that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1956, Denver produced a massive number of these pennies, over 1.3 billion pieces. That's right, more than a billion coins rolled off the presses. So, with such a huge mintage, how could this coin possibly be valuable? The answer lies in condition, rarity within grade, and the magic combination of preservation and eye appeal. Most 1956 D wheat pennies circulated heavily. They jingled in pockets, were exchanged in grocery stores, fed into vending machines, and forgotten in piggy banks. Over time, the majority developed were flattened details on Lincoln's cheek and jaw, faded wheat lines on the reverse, and darkened surfaces from decades of handling. Because of this, high-grade examples are far scarcer than the original mintage suggests. Coin collectors use a grading scale that ranges from poor to mint state. A heavily worn coin might be worth only a few cents above face value. But when you move into uncirculated territory, coins that were never used in daily commerce, the story changes dramatically. An uncirculated 1956 D wheat penny with full mint luster, sharp details, and minimal marks can command impressive prices. And when you step into the realm of gem-quality coins, graded at the very top of the mint state scale, the value skyrockets. One of the most important factors is color designation. Copper coins are often classified as brown, red-brown, or red. A red example retains most of its original bright orange-red mint color. These are the coins that ignite bidding wars among collectors. Why? Because copper is reactive. Over time, exposure to air and moisture causes it to tone and darken. Finding a 1956 D penny that has preserved its blazing red brilliance for nearly 70 years is incredibly difficult. In addition to color, strike quality matters. Denver minted coins sometimes show slightly softer details compared to Philadelphia issues. Collectors carefully examine Lincoln's hair strands, the bow tie, and the fine lines in the wheat stalks. Sharp, crisp details increase desirability. Surface preservation is equally critical. Even the smallest contact marks can lower a coin's grade. Professional grading services encapsulate and certify coins, giving them a numeric grade that significantly impacts market value. A difference of just 1 point on the grading scale can mean thousands of dollars in price difference at the highest levels. There's also the thrill of error coins. Although the 1956 D is not widely known for major varieties like double dies, minor striking errors, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks can add a layer of intrigue and additional value. But here's where the story becomes truly exciting. While the vast majority of 1956 D wheat pennies are affordable collector pieces, a superb gem example in pristine condition has reached a staggering value in the collector's market. We're talking about a coin that appears almost frozen in time. Radiant red surfaces, razor-sharp strike, virtually flawless fields, and professionally graded at an elite level. This is the kind of coin that makes seasoned collectors pause. The kind that sparks intense bidding at auction houses. The kind that transforms a simple 1-cent piece into a legendary treasure. It's astonishing to think that a coin originally worth just 1 cent, barely enough to buy anything even in 1956, could someday rival the value of a luxury car. Yet that is the power of rarity, condition, and demand converging in the numismatic world. Collectors love the 1956 D wheat penny not just for its potential high value, but for what it represents. It stands at the crossroads of American history and modern coin collecting. It's accessible enough for beginners to find in old collections, yet challenging enough in top condition to captivate advanced numismatists. If you're inspired to search for one, here are a few tips. Check old coin rolls from banks. Go through inherited coin jars carefully. Look for strong original luster, that cartwheel shine that rotates under light. Examine the coin for minimal contact marks and a bold strike. And most importantly, consider professional grading if you believe you've found an exceptional example. Remember, condition is everything. Two coins from the same year and mint can have drastically different values depending on preservation. Never clean a coin, as cleaning can permanently damage the surface and dramatically reduce its worth. The beauty of coin collecting is that treasures can hide in plain sight. A penny that most people overlook could, under the right circumstances, be a remarkable find. The 1956 wheat penny is more than copper and design. It's a symbol of mid-century America. It's a survivor of everyday commerce. And in its finest form, it's proof that even the smallest denomination can hold enormous potential. So, the next time you see a wheat penny dated 1956 with a small d beneath the year, don't dismiss it too quickly. Take a closer look. Study its color. Inspect its detail. You might be holding a tiny piece of history, and possibly a coin that collectors would compete fiercely to own. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple brown penny, a coin so common that most people wouldn't even glance at it twice. Now imagine discovering that this tiny piece of copper could be worth a fortune. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1958 no-mint mark wheat penny. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but hides an extraordinary story behind its worn copper surface. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first United States coin to feature a real historical figure, and that alone made it revolutionary. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse displays Lincoln's calm and dignified profile, while the reverse proudly features two elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This design remained in circulation until 1958, marking the final year of the beloved wheat penny era. Yes, 1958 was the last year the wheat ears appeared on the reverse. After that, in 1959, the design changed to the Lincoln Memorial reverse. That makes 1958 a historically important year for collectors. It represents the end of a 50-year chapter in American coinage. Now let's talk about the no-mint mark detail. When you see a 1958 penny without a mint mark under the date, it means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark, unlike Denver coins which carried AD. In 1958, hundreds of millions of pennies were produced in Philadelphia. On the surface, that might make this coin seem extremely common, and in circulated condition, it is common. Most 1958 no-mint mark wheat pennies are worth only a small premium over face value. You might find them selling for a few cents to a couple of dollars depending on condition. But condition is everything in coin collecting. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from heavily worn to perfect uncirculated condition. A circulated coin may show scratches, dull surfaces, worn lettering, and faded details in Lincoln's hair and coat. But an uncirculated coin, especially one preserved in pristine mint state, can look almost brand new, with bright original luster shining under light. The highest graded coins are labeled mint state 65, 66, 67, and beyond. These are coins that were never used in everyday transactions. They were stored carefully, often in rolls or albums, protected from scratches and oxidation. But here's where things get truly exciting. Within the 1958 no-mint mark wheat penny series, there exists one of the most legendary and rare varieties ever discovered, the 1958 double die obverse. This is not just a small mint error. It is one of the most dramatic and visible double die errors in the entire Lincoln Cent series. A double die occurs during the minting process, when the coin die receives a misaligned impression from the hub, causing design elements to appear doubled. On the 1958 double die obverse, the doubling is extremely bold and visible to the naked eye. The word liberty, the date 1958, and the motto "In God We Trust" all show strong doubling. Collectors consider this one of the Holy Grail Lincoln cents. What makes it even more fascinating is how incredibly rare it is. Only a few authentic examples are known to exist. For decades, it was believed that perhaps only 3 specimens had survived. Imagine that, out of hundreds of millions minted, only a handful with this dramatic error escaped into the world. Because of this extreme rarity, when one appears at auction, the numismatic community goes into a frenzy. Bidding wars erupt. Collectors, investors, and dealers all recognize that opportunities like this come once in a lifetime. Even regular 1958 no-mint mark pennies in superb gem condition can fetch impressive prices. A flawless example with blazing red luster and perfect surfaces can command hundreds, or even thousands of dollars depending on grade. Coins graded MS67 red are especially desirable because copper is highly sensitive to environmental damage. Keeping a copper coin in perfect red condition for decades is incredibly difficult. Color plays a major role in value. Wheat pennies are categorized as brown, red-brown, or red. Brown coins have fully toned over time. Red-brown coins retain partial original luster. Fully red coins display bright, fiery copper color almost like the day they were minted. Collectors pay a premium for that vibrant original red glow. When evaluating your 1958 penny, look carefully at the surfaces. Check for sharp details in Lincoln's hair above his ear. Examine the wheat stalk lines on the reverse. Look for any doubling in the lettering. Use magnification if possible. Small details can make a massive difference in value. It's also important to beware of counterfeits. Because rare varieties can command enormous prices, some individuals attempt to alter coins or create fake double die effects. Always have a potentially valuable coin authenticated by a reputable grading service such as PCGS or NGC before making any big decisions. The beauty of coin collecting is that treasures sometimes hide in plain sight. Many people inherit jars of old coins from parents or grandparents. Inside those jars could be a forgotten wheat penny waiting to be rediscovered. The 1958 no-mint mark wheat penny represents more than just copper and metal. It marks the closing chapter of an iconic American design. It symbolizes the transition from the wheat era to the Lincoln Memorial era. And in rare cases, it represents one of the most dramatic mint errors ever struck. Think about the history this coin has witnessed. 1958 was a time of classic American cars, rock and roll music, and the early days of the space race. This penny could have passed through diners, gas stations, movie theaters, and corner stores during a vibrant period of American history. And today, decades later, collectors continue to search rolls of pennies hoping to uncover something special. So before you dismiss that old wheat penny as just another coin, take a closer look. Examine the date. Check for a mint mark. Study the lettering carefully. Because while most may only be worth a small premium, the rarest example of this coin has reached an astonishing auction price of $56,374. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins, the kind that's been sitting on a dusty shelf for decades. You pour the contents onto a table, and among the silver and copper tones, one small brown coin catches your eye. It looks ordinary at first glance. Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile stares back at you. The date reads 1958, and just below it, a tiny D mint mark quietly signals its origin. What you may be holding in your hand is not just pocket change, but a fascinating piece of American history, the 1958 D mint mark wheat penny, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors across the United States and beyond. The Wheat Penny series, officially known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent, began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, It was the first United States coin to feature a real historical figure. On the obverse, Lincoln's dignified portrait faces right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust." Above, Liberty to the left, and the date to the right. On the reverse, two elegant wheat stalks frame the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, with E pluribus unum arching across the top. This classic design remained in production until 1958, making the 1958 issue the final year of the beloved wheat reverse. That alone makes the 1958 wheat penny special. It marks the end of an era. In 1959, the reverse design changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, retiring the iconic wheat stalks. So every 1958 wheat penny represents the closing chapter of nearly 50 years of American coinage tradition. Now let's focus on the Denver Mint issue. The small D mint mark beneath the date tells us this coin was struck in Denver, Colorado. In 1958, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of wheat pennies. At first glance, that high mintage might suggest the coin is common and ordinary. And in circulated condition, many of them are indeed worth only a modest premium over face value. But as with many coins, condition is everything. When collectors evaluate a coin, they look at several critical factors. Luster is one of the most important. A true uncirculated 1958 D wheat penny should display bright, original mint luster that reflects light in a cartwheel pattern. The surfaces should be free from wear, with Lincoln's cheek and jawline showing no signs of flattening. On the reverse, the wheat stalk should be sharp and fully detailed. Color also plays a major role in value. Copper coins are typically categorized as brown, red-brown, or red. Brown coins have toned over time, losing their original mint brightness. Red-brown coins retain some original color, but show signs of mellowing. Fully red coins, however, preserve their vibrant, fiery copper appearance, just as they looked when they left the mint. Collectors pay significant premiums for coins that remain fully red after decades. Another factor that can elevate the 1958 D wheat penny is strike quality. Some examples are weakly struck, with less defined details in Lincoln's hair or the wheat stalk lines. Others are sharply struck, showcasing crisp details that make the design pop. Coins with strong strikes and minimal marks stand out in the competitive grading world. Professional grading services use a numerical scale from 1 to 70 to assess condition. A coin graded in the mid-60s range is considered gem uncirculated. These coins exhibit strong luster, sharp strikes, and very few contact marks. When a 1958 D wheat penny reaches the highest certified grades, especially with blazing red color, it becomes a prize for serious collectors seeking registry quality examples. Beyond condition, collectors also watch for errors and varieties. While the 1958 D is not as famous for dramatic errors as some earlier wheat cents, minor die variations, and repunched mint marks can add intrigue. Any unusual doubling in the lettering or numbers should be examined carefully. Even subtle differences can increase desirability among specialists. The historical context of 1958 adds another layer of charm. America in the late 1950s was in the midst of post-war prosperity. Suburban neighborhoods were expanding, automobiles were becoming more stylish and powerful, and the space race was beginning to capture imaginations. This small copper coin circulated during a time of jukeboxes, drive-in theaters, and the early days of rock and roll. Every 1958 D wheat penny may have passed through countless hands, buying candy, newspapers, or a gallon of gasoline that cost just a few cents. Because it is the final year of the wheat design, many collectors choose to assemble complete wheat penny sets ending in 1958. The Denver issue is a necessary piece of that puzzle. For beginners, it offers an affordable entry point into classic American coinage. For advanced collectors, finding a superbly preserved example becomes a challenge that can take years. Storage and preservation are essential for maintaining value. Copper is reactive and can tone or spot if exposed to moisture or improper handling. Serious collectors store their coins in acid-free holders or certified slabs to protect surfaces from damage. Even a fingerprint can permanently alter a coin's appearance. Over the decades, the 1958 DeWitt penny has proven that even coins struck in large numbers can achieve remarkable status when preserved in extraordinary condition. While millions were made, only a tiny fraction survive today in pristine, high-grade red condition. That scarcity at the top end of the grading scale drives competitive bidding whenever one appears at auction. Collectors are often surprised to learn how dramatically value can increase between grades. A lightly circulated example may be modest in price, while a top population, near-perfect certified specimen can command staggering attention. Auction records reveal that when condition, color, and eye appeal align perfectly, the results can be astonishing. The thrill of coin collecting lies in this very possibility, the idea that history, artistry, and rarity intersect in the palm of your hand. The 1958 DeWitt penny is more than just copper and zinc. It is a time capsule from mid-century America, a symbol of a design that defined generations, and a reminder that small details can make a big difference. Imagine discovering one in an old collection, carefully preserved for decades. The surfaces glow with original mint brilliance. The strike is razor sharp. Not a single distracting mark interrupts the fields. Graded at the highest levels and recognized for its exceptional quality, such a coin stands at the pinnacle of wheat penny collecting. And when a 1958 DeWitt penny of extraordinary preservation reaches the auction block, the bidding can soar to breathtaking heights. In the most remarkable cases, this humble 1-cent coin has achieved a value of $56,372.